Every year in the United States, over 600,000 people go missing. That's according to NAM-US, the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. The good news is that most of the missing are found, but thousands are never located. Similarly, 4,400 unidentified bodies are discovered every year, but 1,000 will still be unidentified 12 months later. While most of the missing fade from public view, a few cases here and there stand out. Some are monuments in American memory, like Amelia Earhart and Jimmy Hoffa. Others are remembered because the missing persons were eventually found, like Elizabeth Smart or the trio of Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Georgina de Jesus. Here we look back at a few cases, outside of the well-covered Earhart and Hoffa, that still hold a place of fascination in the public consciousness. So here are 10 creepiest mysteries of vanishing people. But before we begin, don't forget to like and share the video, and subscribe to the channel. You know how much this is valuable to us. 10. Joseph Force Crater. The disappearance of New York Supreme Court Judge Joseph Force Crater captured so much media attention that the phrase "pulling a crater" briefly entered the public vernacular as a synonym for going AWOL. On August 6, 1930, the dapper 41-year-old left his office and dined with an acquaintance at a Manhattan chop house. He was last seen walking down the street outside the restaurant. The massive investigation into his disappearance captivated the nation, earning Crater the title of the missingest man in New York. Crater was infamous for his shady dealings with the corrupt Tammany Hall political machine and frequent dalliances with showgirls. In the days leading up to his disappearance, he had reportedly received a mysterious phone call and cashed 2 large personal checks. These details spawned rampant speculation that the judge had been a victim of foul play. He was declared legally dead in 1939. In 2005, New York police revealed that new evidence had emerged in the case of the city's missingest man. A woman who had died earlier that year had left a handwritten note in which she claimed that her husband and several other men, including a police officer, had murdered Crater and buried his body beneath a section of the Coney Island boardwalk. That site had been excavated during the construction of the New York Aquarium in the 1950s, long before technology existed to detect and identify human remains. As a result, the question of whether or not Judge Crater sleeps with the fishes remains a mystery. 9. Rebecca Corium. Liverpool student and cruise ship worker Rebecca Corium disappeared on March 22, 2011, from the Disney Wonder as it made its way from Los Angeles into Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The 24-year-old was last seen on CCTV at 5:45 a.m. in the crew lounge, speaking to someone on an internal phone line, wearing men's clothing and looking visibly distressed. She failed to report for her 9 a.m. shift. Disney maintains Rebecca was swept away by a rogue wave, but her parents believe she was thrown overboard after being sexually assaulted. 9 years on, they still have no answers. 8. Lauren Spierer. In March of 2019, Time referred to the 2011 disappearance of Lauren Spierer as one of the most mysterious of all time. The fact that Spierer disappeared isn't quite unusual. In 2019, more than 235,000 women under the age of 21 were reported missing. However, the circumstances surrounding the vanishing of the 20-year-old Indiana University student make it all the more baffling. Spierer was out with friends on June 2nd and into June 3rd in Bloomington, Indiana. She was definitely in a local bar, seen on surveillance video at 2:51 a.m., and confirmed to have been sighted outside the residence of a friend around 4:30 a.m. Since then, she hasn't been seen again. The investigation continues to this day, with FBI agents searching a residence in Martinsville, Indiana in 2016 in connection with case. There are still no further leads, though the Find Lauren website posts updates. 7. James Edward Tedford. 56-year-old James E. Tedford and his 28-year-old wife Pearl Tedford had moved back to Vermont at the end of World War II. At the end of his second spell of military service, Tedford returned to their rented property in Fletchertown, Franklin, Vermont, to find his wife missing. His close family claimed they had no clue as to where his wife had vanished to. The only detail they had was that they last saw her walking to the Amoco store when she disappeared. Around 1947, a lonely James Tedford checked into a soldier's home after searching for his missing wife. 2 years later, James also vanished. On December 1, 1949, James was returning to the retirement home from Vermont when he disappeared mysteriously. The route to Bennington passed through the Green Mountain Forest. At the time, the area was renowned for creepy events such as disappearances. All 14 passengers who boarded the bus testified to seeing him there, sleeping. However, when the bus arrived at its destination, James was gone. No one had seen the old man get off the bus at any point of the journey. His luggage remained tucked on the luggage rack of the bus. 6. The Brandon Lawson Case. Brandon Lawson was a 26-year-old man from San Angelo, Texas. He was an oil field worker and father of 4 children, with wife LaDessa Lofton. He had a warrant out for his arrest, and after a fight with his girlfriend in 2013, he drove off. However, at around 2 a.m. he called 911 from a field in Texas. In the call it's hard to hear what he says, but he sounds distressed and panicked. The call cuts off, and that was the last he was heard of. It sounded like said he ran into something, and he mentions he was chased into the woods. He had a felony warrant out for his arrest, so he was more scared of whatever he had encountered than he was of going to jail, because he specifically requested the cops when he called 911, making this disappearance eerier. 5. Eitan Patz. Patz was 6 when he disappeared on May 25, 1979. The young boy had been on the way to the bus stop when he vanished. The case generated a veritable avalanche of publicity, with Patz's picture being among the first photos of a missing child to be printed on a milk carton. Despite a massive search effort and various leads, Patz was never found. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan designated May 25 as National Missing Children's Day. The following year, the National Center for Missing Children was founded by John and Reve Walsh, with the disappearance of Patz cited as one of the prime motivators alongside the abduction of the Walsh's own son, Adam. Patz was declared dead in 2001. In 2017, Pedro Hernandez was convicted of the kidnapping and felony murder of Patz after a public confession from years previous was brought to light. 4. He Jiankui. In late 2018, a Chinese scientist caused global uproar after claiming to have created the world's first genetically edited babies. Dr. He Jiankui was fired by the Southern University of Science and Technology in Shenzhen amid widespread condemnation. Chinese authorities called for an immediate halt to his experiments, which they described as extremely abominable in nature. Dr. He went missing in January and hasn't been seen since, which is never a good sign in China. 3. Angela Hammond. On April 4, 1991, Angela Hammond vanished while talking with her boyfriend from a Clinton, Missouri payphone. The boyfriend, Rob Schaffer, recalls that Angela had described to him a suspicious man circling the neighborhood in a green pickup truck. He then stopped near the payphone, and since then, the 20-year-old girl disappeared. Schaffer told the police that he quickly jumped into his car and drove to where Angela was. As he was heading there, the green pickup drove past him. He slammed the car into reverse gear and blew its transmission. Schaffer helplessly watched as the abductor took his girlfriend away. The police initially suspected Schaffer, but they soon cleared him due to witnesses and his alibi. What makes this case rather creepy is that it could be linked to 2 other Missouri disappearances earlier that year. Angela Hammond has never found. Detectives categorize the case as a random crime since she was not doing anything wrong or suspicious. Her abductor just happened to spot her talking to her boyfriend. Why the police were not able to find the conspicuous green truck with a big decal on the window is still a mystery. 2. Phoenix Colden. This much is known. Phoenix Reeves was born in California. She was adopted by her stepfather, Lawrence Colden. The family later moved to Missouri. Colden was a fencer and a musician. In December of 2011, the college student's car was found in East St. Louis. Her purse, ID, and glasses were still inside. The Coldens initially had trouble getting the police to take the disappearance seriously, as Phoenix was labeled a runaway. The family cited a phenomenon of missing black women getting less coverage as another obstacle. Shortly after the disappearance, the family discovered that not only had Phoenix not re-enrolled in college, she had apparently been living with a man without their knowledge. She also had 2 cell phones, one that her family paid for, and one that she'd acquired on her own. Phoenix had also made a video in selfie style, talking about her desire to start over. However, these factors complicate what could be a disappearance brought on by another party. It's true that Phoenix could have disappeared on her own, or with help, but she could also have been abducted. At this point, no one knows for sure. 1. The Sarah Jo. Maritime tragedies are not something new. However, things got weird when 5 friends failed to return from a fun fishing day in the Hawaiian waters. They had departed in February 1979 from the coast of Maui on a small fishing boat dubbed Sarah Jo. Family, friends, and authorities mounted massive search and rescue operations to no avail. A decade later, authorities received information of Sarah Jo's sighting on the coast of the Marshall Islands. Next to the wreck, they discovered a grave of one of the 5 missing persons. How the boat got there, who buried him, and where the rest of them were, are questions that have continued to baffle researchers and historians. Did you enjoy our video? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. You know how much it is valuable to us.